sled being drawn by snakes with wings. Snakes with wings. Snakes do not normally fly. But in this case, the snakes have wings, and the heavy-set man is on his sled, being drawn by these flying animals. Sound familiar to you now, doesn't it? He's being drawn by the flying animals. He's performing miracles. He's coming out on December 25th, which is not the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, has nothing to do with Christianity. It is the time of the Bacchanalia and the Saturnalia. And he is representing riotous fun, drunken reverie. And so what happens on Christmas, the Christmas season, especially in America, people today are not even thinking about Isa alayhi salam. They're not even thinking about Jesus. They're looking how they can get drunk. Sled.
Oh my goodness! Hi there. And who are you? Vampire. Dracula's wife.
While there are some people who may be concerned about the origins of Halloween and its focus on blood, death, horror, and the occult, to millions of youngsters across the nation, it has been adopted as a time to pursue scary fun. It is an opportunity to dress up in ghoulish or fanciful costumes, to engage in the fantasy of being a witch or a vampire, ghost, or devil. Eager trick-or-treaters solicit candy door to door or bob for apples at Halloween parties. Others brave haunted houses and horror movie marathons, while the more daring visit cemeteries at midnight, play with Ouija boards, and hold seances in an effort to contact spirits of
the dead. Samhain is just another name, Samhain, for Nimrod. You study all the myths, all the occult myths of Samhain. He is also a stag god. Has horns just like the stag god of the occult world that is so constant. But this particular time of the year, October 29th through the 31st, those 3 days constitute what's known as Samhain. Everyone thinks Halloween is just a one-night thing, October 31st, but it is not. See, in the occult world, this is a 3-day fire festival. It lasts from the 29th through the 31st. During the time when the Druid priest held power in Great Britain, now the Druids held all power. You couldn't get married without the dead. Samhain is just another name. Household members, someone of his own family, and passed them over to the Druids to be used as a human sacrifice offering that night. The Druids would leave you a treat for your cooperation. They would take a pumpkin that was previously hollowed out and filled with human fat. They would leave it on the front doorstep and light it. This served as a ward of protection from all the demonic forces that would be unleashed that night. Now this is where we get into the trick. If you did not cooperate with the Druids, they would take blood from a dead body that they had actually been dragging around and paint the six-pointed star with the circle around it. This is known as a hexagram, from the Latin hexer for six. This is the foulest, the most evil of all the symbols in the occult world. I don't care what anyone else tells you. You need that symbol if you're going to
considered their sober 1623 day of prayer the first real Thanksgiving, according to the blog of the History of Massachusetts. Others have pinpointed 1637 as the true origin of Thanksgiving, owing to the fact that Massachusetts colony governor John Withrop declared the day of Thanksgiving to celebrate colonial soldiers who had just slaughtered 700 Pequot men, women, and children in what is now called Mystic, Connecticut. Regardless though, the popular story of the initial harvest festival is what has continued to live on, thanks to the late Abraham Lincoln. The enduring holiday and celebration has almost entirely wiped the memory of what really happened between the Wampanoag and the English a whole generation later. Massasoit, the sachem or paramount chief of the Wampanoag, proved to be a crucial ally to the English settlers in the years following the establishment of Plymouth. He arranged an exclusive trade agreement with the newcomers and allied with them against the French and other local tribes, considered their sober 1623 day of prayer.
And the Roman government found out, and they sentenced him to death. And before he died, he wrote a love letter to the woman that he loved, and he started that letter off as "Your dear Valentine." So when you're in school and you got the kids writing Valentine letters, you actually writing death notes. When you're celebrating Cupid, you're celebrating sexual deviancy, immorality, and pedophilia, because Cupid is a pedophile deity as well as an emotional deviant deity. The hearts are symbolic to I don't know if I'm saying it right, Baal or Baal, but y'all know I'm talking about Baal. Baal, aka Moloch, is another rendition of Lucifer, aka Satan. And when you look up the ancient Chaldean or Babylonian definition of Baal or Baal, it means sacred heart. And you always see Jesus posing with that heart. And so this is supposed to be like the heart of Lucifer. And you also see certain pictures of Satan with that heart. And so the Valentine's Day heart is symbolic to women and the Roman government writing death notes.
Research, you will find that the United States is not even a country. It is in fact a corporation. A corporation that is owned by the Queen of England. So go figure. Given this fact, how free, independent, or separate are we really from Britain? Anyway, there is obviously more to this political side of truth, but I'll stop here. Now let's go on to the spiritual aspects of the 4th of July.